Hi, good day. This is Cherian here back again with another video. And this video is specifically talking about executive presence. Executive presence is not a new topic. It's been spoken about, been written about by many people. But what I'm trying to do here is in the next couple of minutes, more like a storytelling, experiential kind of a share about what is my take on executive presence and its criticality to leaders across levels, right? You could be in different organizations, you could be in different levels, you could be an entrepreneur, you could be an individual dealing with multiple people. For each one of you, executive presence is a lot more critical than you possibly think it is, right? And what I'm going to be covering is a little bit more on that and what are the factors that are most important for executive presence, right? So if you really look at it, there are three important factors. One is gravitas. And gravitas is about how you carry yourself and how you sort of create an impression where you go, how you create an aura where you go, right? How you command respect and not demand respect. So I think a lot of gravitas is something which is to be earned. It is not something which can be put on. It's not a mask that can put on and be somebody very different in a public forum and very different in a private forum, right? Then that's a credibility gap. Right? And that's very important that you are consistent, you're authentic, right? And you're very reliable and dependable. I think that is the impression that goes a long way in creating your executive presence, right? It's also about how you actually leave behind a legacy, right? If you look back at people you worked with 5 years back, 10 years back, 15 years back, right? People who you worked with or reported to and people who reported to you, how would you remember them and how would they remember you, right? Have they left behind a legacy? Have you left behind a legacy, right? It is those impressions that have stayed behind even after 5 years, 10 years, right? I think that is, to me, talks a lot about executive presence. Right? What is the impression you left behind? And I see this so often, right? When we had one of our very senior colleagues who came from 35 years back, came to Bangalore some time ago, all of us were very conscious about the fact that he respected time. Right? And 35 years later, we all made it a point to be there for meeting him in the evening, on time or before time. No excuses about traffic or anything else. Because we respected that individual leader, right? Even 35 years later, we still carry that impression of respect, right? Same thing applies to organizations where we work, and there are some leaders who you respect a lot, some leaders you don't care a damn for, right? You sort of really don't care for them because you've not been treated well or they've not treated you properly or the way you felt they should be treated. And the same thing may apply to you and the way some of your team members look at you, right? So to a large extent, I would say executive presence is about gravitas and the image that you create about yourself. Then comes the next important factor, which is communication. How do you communicate? Do you communicate to get across your point of view? Do you sort of ride roughshod over people when they're trying to give their feedback or their impression? Or are you more patient? Are you a better listener? Are you taking in everybody's point of view, absorbing it, and then framing it in the right way, saying that, okay, this is what I think is coming through, this is what I think we need to do. As a leader, you still have the final right of say in terms of what you think is the best way forward. But the team members feel respected, they feel heard, right? They feel that you are valuing their opinion. So I think communication is not just about one way, right? It's not just about your liking the sound of your own voice. It's about listening with empathy. So empathy is a very important factor in communication, right? Your body language, the time that you give to them, listening to them. These are all important aspects of communication, which are often in many organizations treated as soft skills, right? To me, they are not soft skills. They are very important skills. They are life skills more than anything else. And the last part is, in order of priority, would be appearance. A lot of people and leaders believe that, if I dress up well and I'm wearing formals and I'm wearing jackets and I'm wearing in business suits and I'm dressed snazzily, I create a great impression. The answer is no. Sure, it's important. Depending on the occasion, you choose the kind of dress code that works for you, even in the current virtual environment. Even more so in the virtual environment, where often I see senior leaders coming in bright, colorful t-shirts, unshaven and stuff like that. It does, create a temporary impression about this person being too casual, when actually the person may not be casual, may be very serious about work, may be very good at work. But these small impressions all add up. But I would still say that appearance is lower down in priority. It is gravitas first, then communication, then appearance. How you treat people, how you leave behind a legacy, and do people miss you when you're not there? Right? Is your absence felt as much as your presence? Right? Moment in a meeting somebody is not there, oh, he's not there, she's not there, that is the kind of aura that person commands, that their absence is felt as much as their presence. These are important factors that has to be considered in executive presence. The very fact that so many senior leaders are taking on executive presence as one of their goals, right? Based on feedback they're getting from their colleagues and from their bosses, and even they themselves perceive that, look, this is one area where I think, can be a stumbling block in my growth in my career. Right? I've reached this far, but if I don't create the right impressions with the right people, then I might lose out despite being a subject matter expert. So I think the importance of executive presence often gets understood pretty late up as you're going very, very high up in the senior ladder. I would say it has to be cultivated right from the beginning, right from your junior level to mid-level to senior level. It is something that can become your way of life, that this is who he or she stands for, this is who or she is, authentic, consistent, like I mentioned, very important. And I think a lot of that comes from inner mastery, right? When you're mastered yourself in inner core, you are at peace with yourself, you are calm, you're controlled, right? You're not reactive, you're respecting people. That all comes from a position of strength. That, look, I know who I am, I know what I'm good at, but I also know that I need other people to grow in the ecosystem, right? It's not just about me and me, myself, right? So those are factors that one should consider. That executive presence is often undermined, it's often undervalued as an important factor, but I can tell you it's an extremely important factor. It can play a huge role in your career, in your life, in your relationships, not to be taken lightly, right? Do also pass by my article, which I think covers a little bit more detail than what I've covered in this brief talk. And if you need something more about my take on executive presence, I'll be happy to chat up with you and clarify to you. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll be happy to get your comments and inputs and queries. Yeah, thank you so much. This is Cherian Kuruvila signing off. Thank you.